Okay, welcome everybody and good evening. This is TFC Live, Season 2, Episode 28. It's July's pre-raid rumbles. Evening, Ren. How are you, mate?
Hey, how are you, Mark? Doing well, man.
Yeah, I'm good. So we're light on presents tonight, but that's a really, really handy thing because there's a lot of slides. It's going to be a bit of a marathon, so we'll give it a go. And I've got...
Yeah, we'll keep it simple.
Yeah, we'll keep it simple, stupid. Some of the slides are just glossary and that sort of stuff. We won't read it all out, but what we'll do is we'll glance over some of them and then we'll pause on a couple of them because there's some quite interesting points that we want to bring out in particularly some of the new holes, which we'll get into. So what I'll do straight away is I'll bring up the slides and we'll see what they have to say for themselves.
All right.
Like I say, I've got the YouTube chat up as well. So if anybody has anything they want to question about, then I'll be looking at that as well on screen 3 as it is at the moment. It's getting crazy here, but there we go. Right, so title screen, okay. Slide pack content. I forgot Rue's away, I think, this week as well, so I'll cover those bits. It's just a review of what she said before, basically, so that's why I put those in. Ren's got a good review of what he's doing as well, and that's basically a selection of builds based on obviously what's coming, and some good talking points, which is good news. And then obviously at the end of it, there's some bug fixes and tuning. Well, there isn't actually because there's nothing to do. But I just thought that we always have it in. So if I missed it out, probably you might be asking why. So anyway, build time reductions. Now this is obviously put onto our page, obviously by one of our lovely, members of the page and that sort of stuff. I did say that basically, I'd say thanks very much. It isn't my artwork; it's his artwork and that sort of stuff. So thanks, buddy, if he gives a hand. Okay then. The good thing about this is it's some key items in the build time reductions for this week. Now clearly we had some before, but I think from this one here, then the thing is, it's questionable, obviously, because a lot of people haven't got it. But the Trident missile, a 49% reduction in build time, I think that's fab.
The Switchblade
and the Switchblade, a 50% build time reduction, which is quite interesting when we move on to builds that Ren's looking at later on. The rest of it, Phalanx 4 was nice, another 50% build time reduction there.
Yeah, the flanks is a good thing because I mean we often use flanks 3, 4, you know, depending on the weight restriction. So I think that's really good, and the muddle missile for people still building their mud.
Yeah, exactly. So I sort of try to drop these into sort of like groupings and that sort of stuff. I wasn't really sure where to put the muddle missile, to be honest. But then again, it's in the other missile areas because torrents, no one really uses. Buzzard doesn't. But muddle missile there, I put it in that blue sector. So a 50% reduction on muddles that actually makes building obviously a mud gluts ridiculously fast. Although, as an aside, we all know that mud gluts of like doing things that maybe they shouldn't, and we're going back to the Reaper days. That may come to an end soon, but that's something to discuss next week.
But still, overall, they've been. I'm not going to say they've been nerfed because they haven't been nerfed, but their users in game now is a lot more restricted. All the top bases can counter them by now.
Yeah, definitely. Most people can. So that's the first one of those. Okay, and I think that's there's some really good stuff in there. I'm really chuffed that Switchblade's come down. I'm sure if Liam was here, he'd be chuffed as well. Scurrier's come down, which is good. Because obviously with the new missiles come down as well, so that makes 50% time reduction there is a good one. Other reductions then.
The Edge missile. Sorry, Mark. Before you move on the previous screen, the Edge missile is that's the missile that was released specifically for the Zelos as a generalist weapon for this raid cycle right now. So anyone, I don't think there's many people, but anyone out there building Zeloses with Edge missiles now, it's a massive reduction in build time. Actually, it's
comparable now, isn't it?
About 2 days shorter.
Yeah, I like it, mate, because look, I mean, Edge, Scory, and Blade, I put those together, they're all 5 hours now.
Yeah.
5 hours and a bit. So it's balanced things up nicely, hasn't it?
And that's something like sometimes people say, oh, Kixeye only does stuff for the coiners. I mean, that's for the non-coiners because Scoria, Blade, and Edge are not for the guys building the top fleets.
No.
This is for everyone else.
Yeah, exactly that. The only thing, obviously, is a bit longer is the Switch.
Which is the silent majority of the players in this game.
Yeah. I do apologize, there's a load of lists, but obviously the list was much longer than this, so I have color-coded a few things and try and drag them together. So the UAVs are down the bottom, okay, so they brought down, I don't think many people are using a lot of those UAVs, but at least they put them down, so that's,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I cannot see one single thing in this page that I would recommend anyone should be building today.
Only the Harrier missile, that's it. And that's for your spotters. Just for your spotter.
And that's just, just as a spotter.
So that's taken 26% hit as well, so that's quite nice. The rest of it, meh, I wouldn't worry about it. And the spotter missile is the thing with the longest range, isn't it? So anyway, so there we go. Like I say, we'll put the slides up at the end onto the page, so you can download them and have a look at them yourself in your own time in PDF format. So, but that's that. Super. Right, moving on. So here we go. Here's the mission overview. Blurb. Okay, so you read that actually while I'm chatting with Ren, and basically bear in mind then this is the first of the new, obviously, raid format. It's a Reaver concept, okay, which means there's going to be fire fields and that sort of stuff. The fire fields this time, though, are not radioactive, they're corrosive. Anything to add, Ren?
No, I mean, first in the cycle, we'll see how it goes. Based on previews, it should be reasonable, but we'll know when it starts, because they always tune things up and down after preview, right? Damage. Yeah.
So I like the fact that they call this guy Gutspill. I think Gutspill is quite funny. I don't know why it's funny. Just it makes me smile. So there we go. It's just
the growing crystals in his body are kind of weird.
Yeah, it is a bit random, I must admit. But he's got the radioactive belt buckle, which I thought was quite good and that sort of stuff. So yeah, not bad. A bit of artwork. Looks like he's been playing BP for too long, sat in his chair for too long myself, but there we go. Possibly. I don't know. There we go. Right, so nothing changes there. Then normal time starts. Say, pick your world, pick your time. I put some UK comparisons there. Nothing's changed then. Everything switches off, as seemed to have sort of worked last time, when obviously just before your world starts, they knock off those 4 things down the bottom. So just bear that in mind. And there's a bit of blurb back top about hit this with this and that sort of stuff, but we'll talk about that in a second anyway.
And so I think it's worth mentioning, because people come to page often asking who's streaming, is there anyone streaming? I think all the TFC admins are in the 200s.
Yeah, but
different sectors, but in the 200s. So nobody from TFC will officially be streaming in the first hour of the raid.
No, but I will stream
the raid will only start for us a bit later. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will only stream on Thursday night if I get to stream at all, because then I'm away for the weekend. I'm going surfing with the kids, so
okay.
I've got like first 4 hours of the raid, and that's it. I'm done. So I need to get on and smash up my points. And talking of points and targets, here we go then. So we're going from lowest to top, okay, and then obviously we'll talk about the blitz targets as well. So that's the tier 4s. There's tier 5s and tier 6s. And clearly, they're recommending rhinos. Interesting for tier 4. We'll see. I've never seen the targets, and nor has anybody else. So it's tier 5, obviously. That's what they believe that the Zoe's Apollo/Apollo should be able to do. Okay. Then we start moving on to obviously the Phoenixes and the Skyfire carriers. Obviously, they reckon definitely a tier 6 hull for that sort of stuff there. And actually, the tier 6, I think the bonus is quite decent. It's not bad.
No, I mean you're going to be scoring 3.7 million.
And it's only a little bit lower than the S target this time. I think that's quite decent.
Yeah. Now I don't know if high levels have a penalty on the targets. There might
not be. On T6, no.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I read the message, wasn't clear. It just says if you hit too far below your level, you have a penalty. So if I'm a level 110 and I hit 8, like these targets level 80 something, do I get a penalty on the target points? I don't know.
No, you don't.
I don't. Okay, good.
Not on tier 6. No, you don't. It doesn't come into much lower, and that's indicated by the fact that when it says when we go on to the snap targets that you can pick, and other little campaigns are there, they tell you that you'll take a penalty on those in a minute. That's what I based it off anyway. So, and also the tier 6 is supposed to be the one for the Skyfire carriers, whereas obviously the tier 7, the S target, is supposed to be one for the Phoenix.
So, it's funny how the way Doom Rooster actually listed them. He puts both on both. I mean, both Phoenix and Skyfire for both. But the only difference he makes is the rank.
Yes.
He says if you want to do tier 7, you need high rank.
Yeah.
Phoenix or Skyfire.
Well, we know why. That's the reload issue. I mean, everybody did those, obviously, the prep ones that were out last week and that sort of stuff, for a few days.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got
reload. Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't got reload, you're going to be in a pain time, aren't you? Because you just can't kill those freaking drones that come at you. But anyway, I've spoken about what my plan is. I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to stick 1 Skyfire and 4 Phoenix in the same fleet, and see if I can kill off those bugs first, and then nip around with the Phoenixes afterwards. If it doesn't work, I'll separate them out. But
I have until Friday night to finish my raid, so we'll see how far I get.
Oh, you got more time than me. It's either that I just stay up all night long and the wife can drive down to Devon instead and go.
Yeah, no, Saturday morning I'll be boarding at 8 a.m. I'll be boarding a flight to Bermuda. That's it. Vacation.
Okay, you just want me, all right? Then don't worry about it. Okay, right. Okay, so there we go. So there's points and prizes, that sort of stuff. What I like about tier 6, as I said there, you know that points prize payout is almost similar to the S target. So there is a bit of parity this time. It's a little bit less, but it is pretty decent, to be honest. So there we go. Yeah. You're getting 4.5 million, obviously, for the single S target. The nice thing I like about this is obviously these targets are quicker to do than the previous target format. So I think that's why the prize payout is a little bit less, or is it just comparative? I'm not really sure, to be honest. But
it's probably the amount of points per hour you can score is probably the same. I mean, these targets are faster, but not that much faster to do. I mean, they're huge, and the drones make you travel, right? You got to keep moving.
Yeah, you got to run for the damn things, haven't you? Turn and run. So
yeah, so it's not that fast, but it's certainly faster to do the single tier 7 target than the whole tier 6 set.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Oh, absolutely, without doubt. For me, then, you know, I will concentrate on the S target because that's my goal and that sort of stuff. That's my intent. But if you wish to go down to lower lets, obviously, then if you think about blitzing and that sort of stuff, then tier 5 obviously is fine, and it's the 84 target. If you want to blitz it, it's 5 gold for every time you want to do it, and it's obviously nearly $1 million. You can do that 10 times. So you know,
it's expensive, but yeah. I mean, depending on if you more money than time, yeah.
So it's the minimum is 5 gold. So if you got through obviously damage free, it would cost you 5 gold. So it's normally 5 gold plus your damage. So just bear that in mind. But if you want to grab a quick 8 million points, it's up to you. And then the hit down multiplier, which is based on base level of 80 and below, I believe it is. It doesn't affect, but definitely above. Then that's when it hits in the level 69. So that's the tier 4 stuff. So that was quoted. So I don't know if that impacts the other tiers.
It should. I think it should. I mean, you know, if I hit the 60s and whatnot, I'm pretty certain there will be a penalty. I'm like I said, I'm even not sure about the 80s. I'm glad you said you don't think there is, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not certainly sure, to be honest. Right, just answering a little thing in chat there. Right, good. Okay, try and multitask. Not very good at that sort of thing. So yeah, so that's the points prize payout. To be honest, I'm pretty happy the fact that tier 6 and tier 7 are really close together. I think that's a really good thing to do. Now, 4.5 million points payout. Just bear that in mind for the moment, okay? 4.5 million points payout for the top level target, and we'll talk about points and prizes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Now, if we try to map that to things you can redeem for. I mean, if you can hit 2 tier 7 targets, okay, and that's 9 million points, that could get you one of the limited CO armors. That's something you can get for 2. If you hit 10 of them, that's 45 million points. That gets you one of the limited flagships, right? Like the Phoenix flagship.
Yep,
and one day generic ship build token.
Yeah, I moved the prize pools around, which we'll come to in a second, because I think it's a really interesting prize pool. It seems like a very small prize pool, but I like what they've done this time round.
But it's expensive still. It's not cheap to get the flagships and all.
No, you're right, but it's not as dear as it was previously, I have to say.
No. We won't see. We shouldn't see any normal person scoring 600 million points.
yeah, you're right. So. Yeah, it is what it says, and that's obviously the 2 campaigns that you're able to do as well if you want to. A lot of people do those on auto. They're garrison targets, so bear that in mind. If they're all garrison targets, obviously with those mines that you can't just drive through, then just be cautious, okay? But it says citadels and punishers, so it must be really low level stuff. So it's a 60s level thing, and a B, you know, for a B set there, and obviously a C set. Now, they probably won't with hardly anything, but you know what? If you're at work and you can auto it and it gives you 1 million points, it's 1 million points you didn't have. So,
and if I understood it right, I mean, if people do them the maximum number of times they can do them, they should be able to get what's called the bottom tier of the price stack. So let's say the Apollo, the missile, and the special. You know, countermeasure extended Apollo and the missile. That's the kind of thing you should get if all you do is the little campaigns doing raid.
Yeah, that's basically about it. Yeah, so with a bit of luck, that'll work out anyway. But right, Okay, dokie, we'll move on. So that's all the campaigns, that's all the prize packs, and that's all the stuff. It is done and dusted. So, oops, let me just get back onto the right screen. Raid information, then basically, you know, tracking your progress, defeating the targets, continuation, obviously, target. Bear this one thing, then hitting the targets that are below your recommended level results in fewer points, but that's only for hitting the target. You still get the actual finish bonus. So just bear that in mind.
The bonus is not touched. Yeah, there's no
bonus
on the
fixed.
bonus.
Okay. So that's
and
also,
we know people will come. We know people come on the page say, "Hey, I'm hitting the blah blah blah, and I'm not getting the points advertised. What's up?"
Advertised points, yeah. You'll get the bonus minus X, and it's a huge reduction as well when you go down to lower points. So, right, so just you really consider obviously points versus payoff versus damage and time, that sort of stuff. So,
yeah.
Okay. Uranium hasn't changed. Okay, it's obviously, you know, there you go. There's the levels, and there's always Man of Wars are back again on Saturday morning. 42k per payout, and if you can't do them by now, then you probably never will be able to be honest. Because they ain't freaking changed for ages. So just to say, no change on that page there. Okay. Prices information. Right, let's pause and slow down a little second then, because we've only had 18 minutes and we're charging through, which is good. Right, so here we go. The left and right corners are back again. Okay, then. Now, if you manage to get ahead of yourself, then obviously Countermeasure Extender, Switchblade, Apollo, Phoenix, okay, Talon Missile, and Carbonite Kit, you've got the left stuff already. There's nothing there you need to get.
For people who paid the extra points last month, yes. For everyone else, I mean, now you can get the Phoenix, the Talon, and the carbon fiber for 40 million points. Yeah,
exactly. Which I think is not bad, considering, you know, and that gets you into the lock store, which we'll talk about in a second. So I there is less, I think, less of a. I know the new targets, and some people may or may not be able to do them, and you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's wrong of me to say that it is less, but then again, if you have only got Apollos to hit with and that sort of stuff, you know, and you want to get the Phoenix, that's still going to be quite a little B-set grind, isn't it?
Oh, it's a grind. I mean, because let's say, I mean, somebody without the Phoenix, I mean, who didn't redeem the Phoenix combo last month, and who just got the Skyfire carrier, maybe they were able to build 2 of them. So I don't know how well 2 Skyfires will do on tier 6, but certainly they should do well on tier 5. And then the Apollos, if you have all the Apollos, should do well on tier 5. But it's a grind to score 40 million points to get the Phoenix, Talon, and Carbon. I mean, but in 4 days, it's 10 million points a day, and you get slightly less than 1 million points, I think, per tier 5 completed. It's like 700,000 points or something. So you have to be ready to hit how many of them? 10 gets you 7 million. You need 40. Yeah, that's about 6 sets. 60.
It's something along those lines, isn't it? Yeah, it is something like that. I'm just picking up actually. Someone in the forum there has just said, sorry, in the chat, but basically said that Doom's done an update. So while I'm quickly having a little chat, basically what I'm going to do is to quickly flip on there and just scroll down and see if he has done an update. Yeah, there is. We've replaced the Apollo with the Zoe's Apollo in the prize list. It's been removed from the unlocked store. Hope this helps. Good. That was a good ask. So obviously I'll update the slides according to that. And so the Apollo is now replaced with the Zoe's Apollo. So
no, is it?
That's what it says. We've replaced the Apollo with the Zoe's Apollo in the prize list. It has been removed from the unlocked store area. So does that mean the Apollo
itself can't get the regular Apollo anymore, or is it moved somewhere else?
Well, that's the question. I wonder if it's just in the general list now, because the Zoe was in the lock. The Zoe was in the locked list, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. Anyways.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see, because
all I'm saying. So just back. So somebody planning their raid who has the 4 full days to play, and is only able to hit tier 5. Plan on hitting 60 sets in 4 days. So that's 15 sets a day. And you'll be able to get the Phoenix, the Talon, and the carbon fiber casing. It's either that or have someone prep 100s for you and go in and finish for the 2.2 million point bonus.
Yeah. So the only thing that I have to do then is, yeah, I'm just
alliance
thinking,
mate or a merc, but somebody will have to prep them for you.
So as was mentioned, obviously the Apollo is in the Foundry, you know, so obviously you can research that item and that sort of stuff then. But obviously the the Zoe Apollo, which is now going to come forward and that sort of stuff. You know, I don't know how much it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be less than the Phoenix, so we'll have to look. I think it's about 8 million or something like that. You know, whether they're keeping it 8 million, I'm not really sure. I think that's what it is. I think it was 8. I have to check when we go to the next price list.
Now here's an interesting.
I don't think it's value for money by itself, though.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, if you're thinking 20 million for a Phoenix and that sort of stuff, but if you're thinking you've got to get through Switchblades and then build an Apollo 8 million and that sort of stuff, you know, I don't know.
Now, here's the thing, right? I mean, the other option, and it's kind of a compromise, is you can, at the bottom right, get the Zelos, the Edge missile, the pneumatic launch actuator. By the way, I recommend everyone gets the Edge missile and the pneumatic launch actuator.
No matter what, yeah.
But that stuff you will not have to get in FM, so it's going to speed up your tier 5 FM getting to token process kind of thing.
So I'm having to have too many screens open here now. So what? So they're saying actually in chat then that the Zoe's up at 2 million in the lock at the moment. So that does make it worthwhile then. So,
yeah,
that's quite good. Well, we'll have a look because I've got it on a later slide. But obviously, I just copied and pasted the data in, and I haven't actually looked and remembered it or memorized it all myself. But
it's okay. Yeah.
So that would be quite good, obviously, because you've got the Apollo. I mean, the thing is, then you've got to do your foundry, that sort of stuff. I suppose you could do your foundry if you haven't thought about that, because it takes days to do some of that stuff. That's the problem. So if you haven't already got Apollos, you're wondering what you've been doing if you haven't got them, but you never know. And if it is only 2, then obviously for that, well, let's move on a slide and have a quick look. So left and right, obviously you've got to bounce your way up and down that target set there and price set until you get into the lock store, right? So here we go. Here's locked. So there's the shards. We talk about those. Okay, there's the
shards as usual. Nothing new there.
Yeah. So this is the locked, and that's the timed stuff as well. Then okay. So shards, I wouldn't even bother with any of those, to be honest. The Phoenix is what I'm going to get myself. That's the thing I'm definitely going for.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, I don't care about any of the schedule stuff, to be honest. Personally, agility is too expensive as far as I'm concerned, but that's the way it is. They're trying to make you think that it's a must-have on some holes, like Apollos. It doesn't seem to make a difference, or didn't in my preview that I ran. And actually on the Skyfire, stick it on, don't stick it on. You seem to be able to stun the bugs anyway, and everything else you can sort of like get away with. There are other options.
Yeah. No, what I like in there is the charged armor are cheaper than they were before.
That's the main thing I'm thinking. The C1M, I like the fact that it's 6 million. Okay, it's not as cheap as I'd like it to be, but it's definitely better. I'm a little annoyed it's only 5, and I'm definitely annoyed that the CO1 is only 5 and it's not 10.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, you know, the C1M for many, many months was 10 million points, and now it's 6, so that's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's just the quantity.
And the C1,
yeah,
the C1 CO was 12 million or 12.5 million points last month, the first time it was available. So now it's kind of like down to 8 million. It's a big difference. So the amount of points you needed last month to get 2, now you get 3. And
the other thing that's we'll come into the unlock store in a second. Those people are still finishing off and haven't quite finished their garrison fleets yet, and still want to fine tune or maybe tank up their Zoes with a little bit, you know, their Zelos, sorry, with a little bit extra. There's no X, so charge X is gone.
Yeah,
which is slightly annoying, to be honest. I was hoping. I mean, it'll probably come in the tech store rate, I'm sure, and that sort of stuff, you know. But it'd be nice just to leave it in the unlock store, because some people just still haven't have enough. You know.
Yeah, but they try to keep. I mean, they try to keep the prices focused on the cycle. So honestly, the only time I expect to see the C1X back is in the tech store in September. I don't think we'll see the C1X back in the raid before the tech store.
No, you're probably right.
Because it's not relevant to the cycle.
It's not relevant to this cycle. It's just that people haven't finished off. I mean, you know, I'm having to take some off some ships and put them onto different ships now. You know, between obviously.
Well, it was there. It was there in the icebreaker TLC. You could get 5 pieces.
Yeah, and but I didn't want to do the TLC again, to be honest. I thought I'd just better nip through and grab some more here, but you know, that was just me being foolish. But so I'll do it. I'll do the icebreaker one again then, because I have to. But there you go. Right. Okay. That was just me being selfish. Which I shouldn't be. Right. Okay, so that's the lock store. Unlock store. Here we go then. So I split it down a little bit because it was all a bit muddled in that sort of stuff. So first thing, look at all the tokens.
Yeah.
You know?
The one thing I noticed, though, is the regular, like the generic scheduled tokens, they every month are getting a bit more expensive.
They are, but at least this time, look, you're getting what? You're getting 3 days, 5 days, 5 days, 10 hours.
And 10 hours. Yeah, 5 day 10 hours of generic, which you could for instance use to get just like a skeleton Phoenix Gutspill Phoenix, for instance, if you want just to buff your Phoenix flag right off the bat this raid.
Yeah.
You know, after, of course, I mean, you got 40 millions there and plus a bunch of million points here, and then you could kind of like have the naked Gutspill Phoenix if you wanted.
Yeah, and I like the fact that if you are going the Skyfire route, obviously, and you know, we've only had a chance to build one really free sort of stuff, and the second one should be half building by now. There's 5 tokens there. You should be able to, that's quite clever of them, it's in the unlock store, you should be able to get those tokens straight away and finish building your second one. You know, if you're using just one and you're going for a lower level and that sort of stuff, and you get another ship and then you've got 2, and it can make an awful lot of difference. So,
I remember some people on page actually on that poll I released asking, what's your strategy for the raid? A lot of people chose partial Skyfire fleet, and they just said, I'm going to finish my Skyfire fleet, or even some people chose partial Phoenix fleet. So people with the partial Phoenix fleet will get the generic ship build tokens and use to further them like towards completion. People who chose Skyfires will probably now, you can get the 5 generic ship build tokens plus the 5 Skyfire. That's 10 days plus maybe tokens from Last FM plus the tokens from the TLC. I mean, it could actually add up if you have all the FM tokens saved and blah blah blah.
That's neat
too. Add up to over 20 days of tokens.
Yeah. I mean, it's not far off too. Well, it's a ship and a half anyway, isn't it? If you've half built one already, because the first one was free, if you've gone in to start building the second one, you could actually have 3. You're right.
Probably, you're right.
You could it'd be close. They wouldn't have much rank on them, obviously, but you know, unless you're going to thinking about obviously panning, because that rank got you up, I think it was to sort of like 66% or something like that. So you could put it over all 3 ships, you know. So anyway, it's more. There's more flex, I think, this time round. I just think there's a bit more flex. Yeah. So there we go. There's the ships, obviously, that are obviously in the unlock store. So it's the Visagos there for those that want it and that sort of stuff. If you want that little bit of a cherry moment and you want some sort of conqueror, and Visago is the go-to hull that's made the prize actually worthwhile again, then it's there. It's at a price, but it's there. So Zoe Apollo's, okay, the Zoe Apollo is there at 10 million. I thought it was 10 million, not 2. So it is there. Okay, so...
Isn't that the one that... Oh, sorry, you said it was moved from the locked.
Yeah, so maybe it was moved. So maybe this is up the update. Okay, so it's in the unlocked area and it's still 10 million then. Okay, so I don't know who said it was 2 million. So unless there has been an adjustment. So this is the latest set of prints then. Okay, so that's quite decent. What else are we going to look at then? So down look at the one
we have the Zelos Com, the special flagship that makes the generalist work. So I would say if anybody's going down the generalist path, you need this flagship. You absolutely need this flagship. Without it, the Zelos will just cost you repairs, like tons and tons and tons of repairs. This is the one that makes them tick, you know.
Yeah, because don't forget, I mean, the Zealous itself is like 30% across the board for all protection factors, but obviously there is no special to put in that special slot because it's only like penetrative or it's explosive. There's nothing that does corrosive and penetrative. So this is basically a sneaky way of chucking in that, you know, because obviously bear in mind later on, if this isn't going to be this flagship, while it's nice, it's not going to help you in later raids because it'll have the wrong type of extra buffs on it and that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But again,
just like the Empyrean MX Prime was just for last cycle, the Zelos COM Prime is just for this cycle, right?
Yes.
But it's cool because the basic Zelos, I think, with the Edge missile on all slots, gets you to 57% corrosive resistance, and then this flagship adds another 50%. So just that's gonna get you to close to 80%.
Yeah, which is pretty decent, to be honest. And obviously, if you
and then the rest you can get with armor. If you want.
Yeah, there are. Well, there's a few other things. There's a few weapons you can put on that can boost your armor points as well, isn't there? So you know you want to waste some slots, but it can be done. So
yeah,
quite decent, I think, to be honest. Yeah, no, I'm quite impressed, to be honest. Right, okay, we'll carry on. We're doing well. So that's that. And here we are. We're going to move into some of the, obviously, the blueprints. So we look at just the top 3 blueprints. So here's the Gutspill's Phoenix. So this is the flag, obviously, for your Phoenix ships. I do appreciate the print's a bit small, but it's the only picture we've got. But we'll look at some build specific in a minute because Ren's going to go through 3 different types of builds using all 3 flagships with their standard nature flag ship with it as well. So here's the Gutspill. I think the most important thing, you're all going to have to lean towards your screens now, okay, is the flagship effect is the key thing there. So just bear in mind then the duplicate effect for a flagship means it'll work across all ships. Okay, so whatever this thing produces it for all ships. My only concern with every flagship that's come out so far is the flagship itself in its own right actually ends up being a little bit weaker, because the bonus effects it gives to the other ships, it doesn't generally give it to itself, or it doesn't seem to. So just be cautious when you build your flagship. You need to build it a bit more resilient than your standard ships, because if it dies first, the rest of the fleet dies very quickly. That is definitely happened.
And it's good. I mean, you know, like this one gives, just for people who cannot read the video, because I can barely, it gives 20% accuracy to all Phoenixes. It gives 15% extra combat speed. And that's the thing that made me stick to Speed System 5, because now that extra 15% makes them fast enough.
Yeah, it makes I can just outrun drones now easy, which is great.
Exactly. So once you put the flagship, the Phoenixes with Speed 5 are able to.
Turn speed's still 20% on top again. So turn, you've got 15 combat and 20 turns. So I'm still.
And then you get and then you get that same similar bonus as we got from the Savage Kodiak. You get a 50% penetrative reload and 50% projectile speed. So you'll be hitting them faster.
Yeah, so put your Savage away. Remember we said about, how long does it take to build a Savage? Don't bother. Because if you can afford to get this, then you don't need your Savage Kodiak anymore. And this can go with the fleet, obviously, whereas a Savage, you'd have to tuck it in the corner because it wouldn't last a nanosecond. So just bear that in mind. So down to special abilities, obviously, now we were talking about range and that sort of stuff, okay? And so this one here indicating that, again, when this aura that's in this ship here, there's no range for the aura, is there? I can't see any range. I was told it was supposed to be battlefield wide, and it looks like it is.
Which one?
The aura effect of the ship for this one here. So on the Skyfire, it did say initially it was going to be combat screen wide, and it's now got an aura range of 300, it says, and that's an update.
Okay.
So, but this one doesn't say anything at all. It doesn't say it's got any range on this on its effects. So it just affects the ships that it goes, other Phoenixes.
Yeah. Well, the range for the special ability, which is the same special ability as the other Phoenixes, is 30. So they have to be all close together. But the flagship effect is battlefield wide. Yeah.
So if you built this blank, that's what I'm thinking. If you built this blank and tucked it in the corner, and you can still use your 4 Phoenix. So if you can go straight into this and then just want to build it as a blank ship using up all the tokens, tuck it in the corner, and then just use your other 4, you're still going to get the flagship effects.
Now this guy also has a bit of a berserk effect, right? That is really cool. Every 1,000 point damage it takes, it increases corrosive defense by 45%, penetrative by 45%, penetrative damage by 25%, and penetrative reload by 75%.
Yeah, and just bear in mind, if you haven't built your Savage yet, and you can get this, build this, because it builds much faster.
Yeah.
And it gives you better bonus effects as well. So there are lots of pros to this ship. We'll come back at it and look at it in a minute, because obviously once we get into the build aspects that Ren's going to go through, then obviously you'll see some better statistics. Okay, so that's obviously the Gutspill Phoenix, great name. And here's the Skyfire carrier. So yet again, what does it do for you? Well, it's got obviously its special abilities, and that's the range of this one here. The aura range is 300, so that's pretty decent. Okay, then transfer amount of armor. But so this thing works in a bit like a gluttony, isn't it?
Gluttony. Yeah, it's exactly like a gluttony. Is that what they call the regeneration matrix or something like that? So it does transfer. So if you see, by the way, I mean, the first thing to take a look is this ship has 140,000 armor points. So more like, I think the regular Skyfire has something like 18,000.
Yeah. Because people are thinking, oh, this is going to die first and that sort of stuff. Well, yes, it is going to die eventually, but unlike Mudgluts, when obviously they go out and then restock a Pride, which has obviously got 100,000 obviously armor points, these don't. These only have 18. So just bear that in mind. Yeah. This is going to allow you, but don't let it die for goodness sake, okay? But this is going to allow you then to stay in the battle for a considerable amount longer.
Oh yeah, and should probably save on repairs, because then you're going to have one flagship to repair, and all the other regular Skyfires will be relatively healthy, with health they receive from the Gutspill. So that's very cool.
Yeah, so it transfers. What is it? As it said, transfer threshold 75%. So that's the maximum it can get. That can give you your health back to 75%. Okay. So when you come to finishing the target, by the way, and you're about to transfer, just think about pausing before you finish the target. because obviously, clearly, you might want to still transfer some health back from this ship to obviously your other ships as well. So you may not want to finish the last little piece of that target. You may want to pause for a little bit, let it regenerate the other ships, because it's save you on fixed time.
And it's real quick, right? By the way, there's no penalty. The thing is, like the other Skyfires, they have less than 20,000 armor, and they heal in 3 hours. They repair in 3 hours. This ship has 140,000 armor and also repair in the same 3 hours. There's no penalty for that.
Okay.
And you know, at raid time, that's going to be an hour and a half.
Okay, and this aura effect, by the way, only affects other Skyfires. You can't mix it then with Phoenixes and that sort of stuff, you know, and chuck it in. Correct. It won't work like that. It's only the one ship.
Yep.
So
and it transfers every 1 second. It only, like you said, only starts transferring once the other Skyfires are below 75, and only heals them back up to 75. Never more than that.
Yeah. So, you know, you can play one or two things here. You know, you can have it slightly dragged behind, that sort of stuff. So it doesn't take the first, obviously, the incoming salvo from the first lots of missiles, or you can put lots of deflection stuff on it. Yeah, it's up to you what you want to do, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a Berserk as well. I mean, the Berserk is really cool because every 3,000 armor points, it will stun the enemies. Every enemy in a range of 200 will be stunned for 5 seconds. Which is enough for you to like open, give some breathing room if you need it. But then there's another level of Berserk at every 12,600 armor points. That one actually will cause a triple salvo on all Skyfires in the fleet. You're gonna just like the very old Grimshine Berserker. Every 12,000 armor, it causes a triple salvo.
Well, the Grimshine was amazing, wasn't it? I have to say that was one of the best
really
fun. In its day. When that going on overload, it went mental, and you could just basically quickly wipe out. You could take out almost every turret in a base. It used to be great. The mortars you could chuck out with that thing was nuts. So these things can have some fun. Right. Okay. Good. And the last one then we're going to have a look at. So the type's a bit bigger on this one here. So this is that obviously there's Zelos Com Prime. Interesting as well. So flagship effect then, same again, same cap and that sort of stuff. Now corrosive defense is boosted by 50 across the whole Zealous fleet, which is nice. Pen defense another 25%. You know, and deflections goes up by from structure and ship by 200. It's not a huge amount, but stun resistance 90. I think that's absolutely important.
Yeah. Well, by the way, you say it's not a huge amount, but keep in mind that Zealous already have 700 deflection. I mean, if you look at the Phoenix or the Skyfire, their deflections like 500, 300, 400. The Zealous already has 700, and it gains 200 more, so it goes to 900 deflection.
Do you know what makes me smile? It makes me smile the way that Kixeye play down the generalist holes, and they're not such mamby-pamby holes as people make out, or they're trying to make out. They're much better if you build them right. I think. Well, yeah. If
you get the right combo, you're damn right. They usually, I mean, their repair time sucks, but if they are well built, they can go through target after target after target, taking very, very little damage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I mean, they are the go-to tank at the moment. I mean, this thing, you know, I wouldn't be able to build this as a tank personally, but you know, it's interesting. It's interesting, and you may need it later on because some of these targets may become something else later on in the game, you know, next year and that sort of stuff. So just bear that.
Oh, they'll become the titanium swords, right?
Yes, they will. So this thing is not going to go away, and you'll definitely need it. So don't think you won't. So I'll probably grab this blueprint anyway, and maybe not build it yet. But
here's what I did, right? I mean, in the past 2 months, 2 raids, Kixeye was offering Zealous one-day build tokens and some DXP tokens, and I kept grabbing them, right? So right now I have 4 ranked. I mean, they're not skull, but they're ranked like to 60% shells, just kind of naked, and they already have 3 or 4 specials each and 1 weapon. So if I get like this raid, it has 10 more tokens. So that plus the faster building edge missile and everything. I'm not gonna say I'll have a full fleet, but yeah, I'll grab the blueprint, and maybe next month I'll have a fleet of Zelos with the Com, just to do some videos and see how it works. But I honestly expect it to do really well.
I think it'll do well. I think it'll be, again, it'll be underrated. I think it'll take a little bit of thought on how you're going to use it and that sort of stuff. But I think once people have understood it again, I think they're going to do very well personally.
They'll do better than the Apollos, right? I'm certain they'll do better than the Apollos.
Yeah, and it's a fast little hull, isn't it? So yeah, I like it. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, the only downside really is the repair time, but if you use it right, that should not be a problem. Now, because of whiny players like George, where's George? He should be here today. So because of whiny players like George, Kixeye put a building on the elite target to prevent.
Yes.
It's a very, very. I didn't like the way they found to prevent generalists from performing on the elite target just by putting a dampener building in the target.
So don't. I mean, or go in with your Skyfire, knock out that building, and then you can do a switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Get someone to prep it for you.
Yeah,
because the buildings die quick. Oh dear, beat them at their own game. But yeah, so anything's possible. But yeah, I do.
And I mean, word to the wise, expect this to happen again. I mean, next month when their next cycle is going to be the skirmish cycle, I would, if I had time on my shipyard, have 4 Zelos built again, and wait for the flagship, and maybe that's going to be your fleet, because at some point they're going to release a weapon and a special and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and probably another flagship. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing that is, and it was mentioned on our page, it seems like the generalist is not quite so general. That's the only thing I'll say. Right. Okay. This is over to you, mate. So I'm going to stop presenting, and what I'm going to do is just share, and then you can just chat away because this is all you. Okay. So,
no, we need to see the screen. If I don't see the screen here, I can talk about it.
So here we go. So here's the screen, that sort of stuff. Then basically, if I stop talking, then you talk, and it pops up basically.
Okay. Okay. So now, just first of all, I wanted to just show that. The building time for the Gutspill Phoenix is fully loaded. If you just build it like a Phoenix, it's 22 days, 12 hours, and that build time is with R&D 30 and with the officer. So 22 days. People without those bonuses probably going to be more like 25 days. The regular Phoenixes for me are at 14 days, so there is a 7-day extra cost of building the flagship. Right, but I, like we just discussed, I like the extra effects: 20% extra accuracy, 15% extra combat speed, and 50% projectile speed, 50% reload, and 20% turn speed. So that's pretty good overall. And these ships are 3 hours, 11 minutes to repair if you build them this way: 1 charge CO, 1 charge M. 1D5 CO, 1D2 CO. That's how I built mine. You did yours a bit different, didn't you, Mark?
Slightly different. Just a couple of little changes. But to be honest, my arm is very similar to yours and that sort of stuff. I think it's quite important to have that CO boost there from obviously the generic one, which gives you at the top level 5 gives you the 18% boost. But I don't think you're right. You don't need any more M armor than that. I think 1 is enough. These things really. And especially once you get that flag up and running, because don't forget you get the stun effect from the flag. It's in the blueprint. So that flag will make a huge difference to your Phoenix build. All right, and so those troublesome missile turrets will no longer be a trouble to you because you'll be able to kill each cluster pretty quickly because you'll stun them and then get them and kill them. So and the bonus effect as well. Don't worry too much then about the hulks that are in there as well, because in one volley you'll just annihilate them. So just bear that in mind. So that it'll transform. It'll definitely transform your fleet. So get it up and running as soon as you can. So don't overly concern yourself. I think Ren's got it right. I think it's bang on. A 14-day build. Mine was coming out about 13.5 to 14 days. He's definitely got it right there as well. Obviously, it's Siege Battery 3 because there's no point having the one that's because the build time reduction now. You get far more building damage and a bit more protective as well. So. It's the right one to go with as opposed to Garrus, Battery X. So.
Same protection, I think, but you're right, more building damage, 74, 75% building damage.
Yeah.
And R15.
But the rest of the specials are the same as what I've got, to be honest. The only thing I've got different is obviously you've gone for Speed System 5 and I've gone for obviously Magnus Drive 2.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was at a point where I was almost refeeding mine to Magnus Drive. But then I thought the flagship was going to take care of it, and I took and it was like over 2 days to replace on each ship. I didn't have the time, so I'm like, I can have 2 ships on Magnus Drive, 2 on Speed 5. So I'm like, don't touch it, right?
Yeah.
Moved on, and I took a gamble, and it paid off.
Yeah, you're right, because you get the bonus. I mean, mine are going to be ridiculously quick now, and in fact, they will definitely outperform Apollos now. They'll be faster than the fast speed of an Apollo now. So, Brian's made it back. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hello. Hello. Opening
just going to have to be careful with Mag 2. Probably going to have to be careful because we're going to be so fast that you may hit the corner of the battlefield too often. So you're going to have to probably zigzag a little bit to keep the drones in range, right? Yeah,
very much so. It's a bit cautious. You're gonna have to be a bit cautious because you will outrun the drones, and then obviously by outrunning the drones, as Ren's just said there, you'll get to the corner or into the clouded area where the corrosive damage starts happening and that sort of stuff. So just be a bit careful there. And do you know what? If I've made a mistake and I end up having to downgrade later on, well, I've got nothing else to build. So.
I don't think you will. I think both builds are going to work. I mean, they'll just require slightly different driving. Like my fleet with speed 5, I'm probably going to go on a straight line. You might have to zigzag, but both will have excellent, and by excellent I mean more than needed, combat and turn speed. Because in your case you have lower turn, but now the flagship give you a turning bonus as well. Yeah, and it's nice that bonus. So yeah, I think everybody's going to be happy. It's just a little bit of a different driving style there.
Yeah, agreed. You happy, Ryan?
Yeah, that's a lot of build time reductions.
It's a huge lot of build time reductions. Yeah, it is, and on some key missiles as well, isn't it? On some key missiles. Right. We'll move on to the next one. And so here we go. This is the ones for those that want those. They're looking at UAVs because UAVs haven't been around for a while, and I've built one very similar to one that Ren's got on the left-hand side. So, talk us through it, mate.
Okay. So the one thing I want to talk about, and if you can lock the screen on the slide, Mark, because that's important. That people see. The Gutspill Skyfire has 140,000 armor. Because of it, it's impossible to use RA3 special on it. Because the RA3 special impacts armor weight, and when you do that, it immediately goes over to 12,000 and overweight, and you can build it. So I had to downgrade it to RA1, just so you guys know. It was the only thing that fit. If you remember, I mean, when the Conquerors came about and people tried to use shielded electronics, it was impossible because it affects armor weight.
Yeah.
And this guy has 140,000 armor because it has the regeneration matrix. So just keep in mind the build cannot be the same as the regular Skyfire. The only single change you have to make is take off RA3 and move to RA1. Okay, build time wise, it builds faster than the Phoenixes. I mean, you look at the Skyfire on the left, it's a day shorter than the Phoenix I had on the previous slide, and the flagship's actually 4 days faster because I didn't put any armor. I mean, I only put one there for fun, but with 140,000, you don't really need to add charged armor. You can if you want, absolutely you can. You just don't need to.
Right, gotcha.
Right, but that's it. I mean, I'm just comparing and showing you the special abilities. I mean, just remember, this guy doesn't have a flagship ability per se, but he heals.
I have a non-zero number of questions.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, it overloads, and then so it's got the stun once under Berserk. The Gutspill Skyfire does. And it's got the reconstruction matrix. Okay, it's just like the Gluttony, sure. And it's got the overload effect listed again.
Yeah.
So every 3,000 and then every 12,600. So at 12,000 it blows up, and then at 12,600 it blows up again.
No. It's different. At 3,000 it stuns the enemies.
And
at 3,000 it stuns the enemies.
It heals.
At 12,000,
does that count as it
gives
transfers the armor points? But is that the same as taking damage for purposes of Berserk and Overload?
So I'll go one step at a time. So first, Berserk at 3,000 stuns enemies in a range of 200, a radius of 200. So second Berserk, that's only going to happen every fourth regular Berserk. That's 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 12,000, right? That one not only stuns, but it gives a plus 300% salvo. So you're going to see it's going to be like UAV fast, whole bunch of them going out at the same time. like in the good old days of Atlas carriers with Grimshine Zergs. Remember? Okay,
Yeah,
so you have
unfortunately, I remember.
so plus 300% actually means you're going to have a quadruple salvo, right? So that thing's going to be a monster. Then the other thing that's independent from Zerking is the reconstruction matrix. As soon as the other ships in fleet go below 75% health, every 1 second it transfers its own health over to them. And by doing so, it takes damage and triggers the Zerk.
Okay, that's how that I was sort of hoping and sort of fearing that's how it would work, because wow.
Yeah, wow.
That looks good. Yeah, so for those who are listening, I just got home and I'm just now looking at these pictures for the very first time. So these are as raw reactions as you're going to get.
So while you've been chatting there, just had a quick look on Huggies, and a couple of things you can do on the flagship. You can drop, if you wanted to, down to, because you want to keep this thing alive, you could drop down to Siege, but not Siege Battery 2, sorry. You can drop down to the special down to level 2. The siege targeting
RA2.
Down to 2, and then you can actually put the pen back up to level
RA2?
Yeah, so you can put siege targeting down to level 2, and then obviously you put the pen protection up to level 2 as well, which will give you a, it's another quite a few, I think about 18% or something like that. So that would help you. Although I have to say, Ren, I still don't see a great deal of penetrative damage. And maybe if you were to chuck on there 1M instead.
It could be, yeah, 1 charge them, and maybe you don't even need the RA, because the pen defense this ship has is really good, or maybe you could add a little bit of a speed armor, so when you're kiting the targets, this one will always be a little bit farther and will never be targeted because it's not in range. You know what I mean?
I would definitely say keep this thing alive, because it's going to transform your sky. So even if you have to go down to that siege target and drop it down to siege target in 1, and that particular ship doesn't do as well at killing things as the other 4 ships, but if you can keep it alive to the end, even if one of the other ones die, it's the goal. That's what you need to do, because it'll definitely make it better. So just think about defensive, then attacking. For that particular hull, not so much on the other ones. Good.
And like I said, the good thing is you can keep your Skyfires that are at or close to 75% health across multiple battles, and only the Gutspill is going to be the one going down in health battle after battle after battle, and then you dock and repair the flagship. And the flagship, even though it has 140,000 armor, only takes 3 hours to repair.
Yeah, it's free.
So in a way, your other Skyfires just got a huge armor buff without adding any repair time to them, because now you have the flagship.
Yeah. And like I said, you've got 1 switchblade in there. It could be a phalanx. There are other options and that sort of stuff. Because the ranges are identical, so don't bear about it too much. It's just ideas. And look, these are vanilla builds. We're not actually saying this is the textbook answer, but we're thinking about different concepts. That's what we're doing.
You could get rid of most areas of the flagship and just load it with flanks 4.
Yep. Okay. Here we go. Last one.
Okay. All right.
Oh, they've already come out with the Zealous flag already.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm still on the... Oh, there, loaded. Okay. So, yeah, the great news on the left side, the regular Zelos, is the Edge missile had a build time reduction of 50% or close to it. So now that build, I think, was taking 17 days, 18 days to build, and the flanks also had a reduction time. So with reduction times on all weapons in there, now that ship builds in 13 days. If you have been collecting Zelos build tokens, and I had about 30, you could get 3 ships out. Boom. And I'm only using very lightweight armor because of A, weight, and B, repair time. The repair time, again, sucks. It's 5 hours per ship. You can build the flagship just like the regular one, but now if you look at the left, under defense for the regular Zelos, even when you weaponize and put the armor, the corrosive defense is at 72% on the left. Once you add the flagship adds 50% corrosive defense. So now from 72, you gain another 14, and you're going to 86, which is quite decent. Because you're also going from 700 700 deflection to 900 because of the flagship, and you're gaining extra 90% stun resistance. So it's a massive buff.
It is.
I'm scared that they think this needs more deflection. 700's higher than anything else in the game base.
We were talking about that. Apart from the old, what was the very original one that had the huge base defense? I can't think what it was now. It had Neptune.
The
Yeah.
Neptune wasn't even that high. That was 600.
That was 600. Yeah, but so that was at the time that was the winner. This is now 700 plus 200. You know, it's crazy, isn't it? So 900.
A lot of stun resist too. I like that. That means you don't
90%.
You don't necessarily need edgy. That means you don't necessarily need an agility system. You could just put guidance.
You could put guidance scrambler if you wanted,
and you get better. You get a better stat actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, or you could go crazy and have no stun at all because you can then go for the electronic systems as well, can't you? So, but the point is, they're options. Yeah.
Yeah. The main reason, I mean, those 4 flanks 3 there are pretty much optional. The main reason I put them in there was to get the pen resistance higher. You don't need all the countermeasure. I mean, you could actually cut down some extra build time by not having them at all and adding them on a later date. But,
yeah,
you know, I mean, think about that special there gives 110% reload plus rank. You can get like a massive amount of missiles in the air with that combo, right?
So I'm looking at this prize list. They keep changing the answer to this question, so I want to ask. I have the whole left side, Phoenix, Talon, Carbon Fiber. I've got the weapon and the targeting circuitry. I don't have the Gutspills. But the Gutspills Phoenix, what I want is in the locked store. Can I just go and get it with 40 million? Do I need to get, because I've got both specials, I've got both weapons, do I have to redeem the Gutspill Skyfire carrier in order to get into the store? Because I can't claim a special because I've claimed them both. It's impossible.
So the wording in the post by Doom Rooster says,
I don't trust that.
In order to get access to the higher tier, you need to own a component from the lower tier.
That's the click.
It doesn't say you have to redeem. It doesn't say you have to earn in this rate. It just says you have to own a component in order to unlock the tier above. So in theory, if I own the Phoenix, I own the Talon, and I own the Carbon Fiber, the locked store should be unlocked already.
However,
that's in theory. I asked Pixar that question point blank, and I did not get an answer.
I'll see how it goes tomorrow.
We'll find out by this time tomorrow.
We will find out.
Worst case, yeah. Worst case, yes.
Okay. That's a pretty bad worst case.
Good picture choice. Good picture
pretty bad worst case. Okay, Ren's lights gone off. We know what time it is. He's on the hour. That's it. His office lights are gone. Right. Okay. And so Rue's normally covering these points, so I'll just reiterate them because I did a slight update. So temper your needs versus your wants. So this is about raid tactics and that sort of stuff. Basically, and the first point that she made up, this is on previous about 10 weeks ago. Then if you're not getting price pool 5 on your weekly FM, then that's clearly still your highest priority. So just bear that in mind. Okay. Think about you need fleets for your uranium. Okay, then whether that be a dub or something else. Okay, or the ones that are on the shore. Think about for your base parts as well. If your base is still below the level that it needs to be, obviously, you know, because OP10 will be coming at some stage. Okay, and then you want something to raid with. Okay, as the last resort, because raid comes last in general terms. Most things you can pick up even in the tech store at the end with low level tactics. Make a wish list and stick to it. I've made a wish list of things for this coming raid. I've posted on our page. 129 million points. That's considerably less than last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that illustration on the left is awesome because I've seen so many people doing that. Oh, you know, the points I have, I can get a Tide Seeker, Frontline Countermeasure, and Judge Mortar, and these are 3 components that often never go together.
Mm-hmm. Point
right? Because the Tide Seeker is skirmish and Judgment Mortar is garrison, and I mean, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, why are you combining those items? Yeah, and that's the very point. Tick one, ignore the other, because those combinations should never be together. Just because you've got the points doesn't mean you get them.
Makes sense with the other something and the other something you're getting, right?
Yeah, And there we go. So this is the next thing about people helping, and I think this could be a time for people to come back and do a little bit of obviously murking and that sort of stuff. I think we're going to be getting back into that area again. I think these prizes, people will actually get them down. Sorry, these targets, they'll get them done quick, especially once they get those flagships up and running. And I think that the murking will be back definitely on the next one. Then definitely. So there's a thing of there. Don't spam chat, obviously, and particularly don't PM in people when you see them prepping for other people as well. They're not obliged to prep for you. Okay, you see that definitely in some of the busier sections. So bear that in mind, okay? And no, I'm not going to help you, Spooner. Okay, keep asking me in chat. So basically, pick your prize list, stick to it, and that sort of stuff. You know, and if you get anything else on the top at the end of it, then fine, no problem at all. Okay, don't ask in the first hour. It's not going to help you whatsoever. Okay, and and don't leave it to the last moment either. Okay, because no one is going to run around and chase you. Brian's just dropped out. That's interesting. Okay, so no one's going to chase their tail for you in the last hour of the game. Okay, of the raid. So that's where we're noting. Obviously, he's having mic problems. Okay.
Oh, no, was an idiot. I'm back now. Was an idiot.
You pressed the wrong button, haven't you?
I clicked the wrong. I have so many tabs open.
Okay.
I wanted to say something actually in general. I think it's interesting that these new hulls have overload based on armor points, because the charged armors don't give you any armor points. They just give you the reduction and the resist and the deflections.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's not so bad, and now I guess I'll try to stick, especially on the flagship, well, the Phoenix's flagship. I'll try to stick a bit of heavy armor, maybe not super heavy, but like D1Ms or D1Os, just to get a 13th Berserk of Death's whatever, get wrecked. That thing, the missiles.
But it doesn't make a difference how much armor you put on the regular Phoenix, does it? That's just about the flagship, or
no,
the regular armor?
Not just for the flagship.
Okay. Same with the Gutspill Skyfire, where, I mean, it berserks every 3,000, then there's the other one every 12,000. On that one, if you want to add armor, you know, by all means, go for it.
Yeah, very much so. Right, let's get back to this for a second then. Like I said on these raid tips, and basically it's the first raid of the cycle. Let people understand the targets first. A lot of people haven't seen them yet. Okay, and so let them get used to them, that sort of stuff, and it'll get quicker as we start getting more videos. Obviously, you know, with the TFC page is obviously going to have, we're grabbing videos as they get put up and that sort of stuff. We'll look at fine tuning. We might get a chance to do a bit of stream and that sort of stuff, and or maybe on the first night anyway. And basically, it will get easier as it goes along. This is the very first one, so let people glide themselves into it at their own pace. Don't pressurize people straight away. But like I said, the website will be up and running. And Andrew, who's actually coming back himself on the train tonight from a business trip and that sort of stuff, he will have our own converter up running on the website as well. So you can obviously put in your targets you want, you put in your base level and that sort of stuff, and it'll tell you how many you need to get. Like I said, mine was 129. I think it's 47 targets in total. Pretty sure that's what it is for me to get. My plan, if things go well, I should be able to do that in the first 4 hours. That's my intent anyway, but we'll see. And then basically, then yeah, as people are generally willing to help people that are actually grinding, okay, don't just hit one target, give up, and then keep crying out. Hit as many targets as you can. The last point then is this one here, okay? And if somebody's there to help you, you freaking be there. Okay, there's nothing more frustrating than you're running on a crew and that sort of stuff, and you've gone and prepped a target, and then you're on comms going, well, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Because you've logged off.
Or you load the crew, right, the legendary one, and the guy goes like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have a smoke break.
Yeah, I've got enough now. I don't need any more points. Or I'm too busy now. I don't want to do it. You know, or it's tea time. Mum's called me. You know, it's just like, yeah, thanks for that. You know, so if you're going to sit down and you're asking for time, you make sure you can commit the time, because you will never get help again. So just worry about that. Okay, so those are the key points. Those were rude points from before, so we'll just reiterate those there, and that'll give you some happy raid timing. But I do honestly think that that murking will be back with a vengeance next month. I really do. Rewards, there you go. Tag team pay it forward. That really works really well. Okay. And if you can't do a certain target, someone's prepping, you may have time to go and help somebody that's even lower than you. You know, so just bear that in mind. Okay. So
as we say in Canada, pay it forward.
Pay it forward. Yeah, exactly that. Do you know? And if somebody is helping you, it doesn't hurt to throw them a card from a Facebook card and that sort of stuff. You know, to do it and that sort of stuff. You know, even if they didn't ask, it doesn't do any harm. You know, you can just give them, you can PM them on their base and that sort of stuff, and give them the code. You know, nice and sort of like discreetly and that sort of stuff. And even if it's just 50 coin, it's a nice thing to do. Okay, never spend your raid points until the end, unless, like we said before, if you're going to get some tokens, it will get you another ship up and running, then it could be of benefit to you, okay? But generally, don't spend your raid points until the end, because you never know when the end is the end. You never know, okay? And if you are prepping for the people, yeah, you're right. The end's the end. Yeah, okay. So yeah, if you are prepping for the people, obviously just watch people that come and snag some targets and that sort of stuff. Generally, most people are pretty well behaved in the raid. But if you are prepping for targets, look out for obviously the Imries of the world, because they'll come and nab you. Okay, so just bear that in mind. That's it for that. And last one, bug fixes and tuning. There ain't none. There we go. So tuning,
there are no bugs in this game then.
There are no bugs in the game. So there we go. Just thought I'd put that in because I thought it was funny. Okay, we're done on the slides. We're good. That wasn't bad. A couple of minutes over, but...
Any questions from chat?
Oh, we've got loads of stuff. Like... most of them I'm using, obviously, twice. No, we're talking about most of the things there. So I was incorporating the comments in chat as I was going along. So it wasn't all my idea, I have to say, you know. So I was.
The crowd intelligence makes you look really smart.
Well, that's that rule, isn't it? You know, when you take on the concept of the masses, you generally come with the right conclusion, isn't it?
And only the nerds, the true ones, will get that. But you're like the Kree supreme intelligence.
the wisdom of the crowd, I believe it is also called. I can't believe they called them scheduled prizes instead of the timed lock store.
Yeah,
that's awkward.
Yeah,
and they're way too expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
And the display is probably not.
But now they're thinking that agility is the funky thing to have, because obviously the stun evolved and that sort of stuff. So they're saying, all right, well, let's put it up by 2 million. You know, so it just makes me laugh. I had a quick look. I've got 35 spare, so I ain't getting none of that rubbish. You know, and
I should look and see where Agi3 is. Is it in the ESM? I don't know.
Before you go out and rush out, by the way, here's a top tip from TSM, okay? Before you go rushing out and getting that stun armor, go into Huggies, put it on your ship that's already got agility 4 in it, and then look at the percentage bonus it gives you. Not worth the money. It isn't. I promise you.
Yeah, stun is multiplicative. It might still stay additive in game. I haven't checked it. But if it does stay additive in game, it's wrong.
It's not. It's wrong. It gives you peanuts, basically. It's just not worth it.
You just need, pick your favorite agility system and put it on there. You just need that.
Yeah.
You should be okay.
Good. Right. We're done. That's it. Index. Like I said, I won't be here for the weekend, so Rue is going to run the open mic on Saturday night. So look forward to those dulcet tones of obviously Robin. Okay. She's going to be up and running and ranting and whatever else that she does. For the weekend, I might get a chance to listen in, but I doubt it. Okay, so
it might be the Stu and Rue show.
I don't know what's going to be. We'll see what it is. But basically, she's going to host. Okay, then. So all you guys that are out there, tag along. Okay, join in and grab a mic, and then you can have a bit of a banter. She will keep it on the straight and narrow. She's very forceful like that. Okay, that's all I'll say. That just remains for us to say goodnight. So I'll say goodnight. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. Happy reading.